The worst part is not the dress. Not the $1,000 silk gown that clings to her like a beautiful lie. Not the 200 guests sitting in the ballroom below, their whispers rising like smoke through the hotel's ventilation system. The worst part is the silence where a phone call should be. The absence where a groom should be standing. Vivienne Hart stares at her reflection in the bridal suite mirror. Her maid of honor stands behind her, phone pressed to her ear for the third time in 10 minutes. The ringing stops. Voicemail. Again. I am sorry. The automated voice is cold, mechanical. The mailbox you are trying to reach is full. Her maid of honor lowers the phone slowly. The look on her face says everything. Vivienne, she whispers. I sent someone to his apartment. All his stuff is gone. The room tilts slightly. Or maybe that is just Vivienne's world crumbling in real time. She smooths the silk of her dress, each stroke of her palm against the fabric a small desperate act of control. This is not happening. This cannot be happening. Her mother appears in the doorway, mascara already streaking her cheeks. Should we? Her voice cracks. Should we tell them? Vivienne looks past her mother to the grand staircase visible through the suite's windows. Below, in the ballroom, 200 people are waiting for a ceremony that will never happen. Grant's family on one side. Her family on the other. Friends from college. Colleagues from the architectural firm where she works. All of them expecting a wedding. I will tell them, Vivienne hears herself say. Welcome back to another powerful story, my beloved listeners. Kindly tell where you are watching from and what time it is where you are at. If you are new here, prepare for a story of betrayal, unexpected love, and what truly makes a family. Drop everything and listen closely. This tale of heartbreak and redemption might just change how you view love and family forever. The walk down the aisle alone is the longest journey of Vivienne's life. Each step in her crystal-embellished heels echoes against marble floors like a countdown to humiliation. The string quartet stopped playing minutes ago when it became clear something was wrong. Now there is only the sound of rustling fabric. Cleared throats. 200 people holding their breath as a bride walks toward an altar with no groom waiting. Vivienne keeps her chin up. Keeps her spine straight. Keeps breathing even though her lungs feel wrapped in barbed wire. She has practiced walking down this aisle for weeks. Practiced the pace, the smile, the moment she would meet Grant's eyes and know that everything was about to change. She was right about that last part. Everything is about to change. Just not the way she imagined. When she reaches the altar, the officiant stands with increasingly obvious discomfort. He adjusts his collar, opens his mouth, closes it again. Vivienne turns to face the crowd before he can ask the question neither of them wants to answer. 200 faces stare back at her. Some sympathetic. Some curious. Some, like Grant's college roommate in the third row, looking decidedly guilty. He knew. Vivienne thinks with sudden devastating clarity. They all knew. Thank you all for coming, she says. Her voice sounds steady. Distant. Like it belongs to someone else. It appears that Grant has chosen not to attend his own wedding. A collective gasp ripples through the ballroom. The sound of 200 people inhaling shock at once. I appreciate your presence here today, Vivienne continues. The reception dinner is paid for, so please. Her voice cracks, just slightly, just enough to remind her that she is still human underneath the numbness. Please stay and enjoy it. I need a moment. She walks back down the aisle with as much dignity as she can gather. Holds her bouquet of white roses like a shield against the pitying stares. Her maid of honor reaches for her arm but Vivienne shakes her head. Not now. If someone touches her with kindness right now, she will shatter into 1,000 pieces right here on this marble floor. The bridal suite feels like a cage. She cannot stay there. Cannot face the inevitable flood of well-meaning friends trying to comfort her with empty words. Instead, Vivienne finds herself walking through the hotel's corridors, her train whispering against carpet, until she reaches the rooftop terrace. It is supposed to be closed for a private event later that evening. But the door is unlocked. She steps out into the cool evening air and finally lets herself breathe. The city sprawls below her, indifferent to her humiliation. Lights are beginning to glow in windows as sunset paints the sky in shades of amber and rose. Somewhere down there, Grant is starting a life that does not include her. The thought should devastate her. Instead, she feels oddly numb. Like she is watching this happen to someone else. Like this is a nightmare she will wake from any moment. I hope you are not thinking of jumping. Vivian spins around so fast her dress flares dramatically. A man stands in the terrace doorway. Tall. Dark-haired. Wearing a suit so perfectly tailored it could only be custom-made. He looks to be in his mid-30s, with sharp cheekbones and eyes that hold something between amusement and genuine concern. The venue is reserved, she says automatically. Even in crisis, her politeness remains intact. Even abandoned at the altar, she still follows the rules. So I heard, the man replies, stepping onto the terrace. Though it seems the reservation is no longer needed. He moves with the kind of confidence that comes from never being told no. Not aggressive. Just certain of his place in the world. I'm supposed to be hosting a business dinner here in an hour. When I came to check on the setup, I heard about the situation downstairs. You mean my public humiliation? I mean an unexpected change in circumstances. He walks to the terrace railing, leaving a respectful distance between them. I am Dante Moretti. The name registers immediately. Moretti Global Holdings. One of the largest luxury hotel chains in the world. Vivienne actually studied their flagship property in Milan during architecture school. Wrote a paper on their innovative approach to blending classical and contemporary design. She got an A on that paper. Grant told her it was a waste of time to focus so much on commercial architecture. Vivienne Hart, she replies. Then, because the absurdity of the situation is starting to hit her, though I suppose I should be grateful I did not have time to change it to Vivienne Ashford. Grant Ashford is a fool. The simple, matter-of-fact statement surprises her. You do not know anything about the situation. I know that anyone who would leave you standing at the altar in that dress is either a fool or a coward. Dante turns to look at her directly. Possibly both. I also know that you are an architect at Morrison & Associates. That you designed the renovation for the Blackwell Museum. And that your work is significantly undervalued by your current firm. Vivienne stares at him. How do you? I make it my business to know talented people. I have had my eye on your work for several months. He pauses. Though I admit I did not expect to meet you under these particular circumstances. There is something surreal about standing on a rooftop terrace in her wedding dress, discussing her professional portfolio with a billionaire hotel magnate while her would-be wedding reception happens without her several floors below. Why are you really here? She asks. Dante smiles. It is a small, enigmatic curve of his mouth that suggests he knows something she does not. Because I have a problem, and you might be the solution. Though I am aware the timing is spectacularly bad. Try me. This day cannot possibly get worse. I need a wife. Vivienne laughs. It is a sharp, slightly hysterical sound that escapes before she can stop it. You are joking. I have never been more serious. Dante's expression remains perfectly composed. My grandfather built Moretti Global from nothing. When he died last year, he left the controlling share of the company in a trust with one condition. I must be married before my 35th birthday, or control passes to my cousin. That is archaic. That is my grandfather. He believed family legacy required actual family. Dante's jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. My birthday is in 6 weeks. My cousin is a disaster who will run the company into the ground within a year. And my fiancée, the woman I had planned to marry to satisfy the requirement, left me 3 days ago for a tech entrepreneur in Seattle. So we are both having a spectacular week. Indeed. Dante pulls a chair away from one of the terrace tables and gestures for Vivienne to sit. After a moment's hesitation, she does, gathering her extensive skirts around her. The silk pools at her feet like ocean foam. He takes the seat across from her. Here is what I am proposing. You are already in a wedding dress. There is an officiant downstairs who has been paid to perform a ceremony tonight. We could solve both our problems in the next hour. Vivienne's breath catches in her throat. You want me to marry you. Tonight. A complete stranger. Not complete strangers. I know your work. You know my name. His dark eyes hold hers with unsettling intensity. And we are both in need of a solution to our respective crises. This is insane. Is it more insane than going back downstairs to face everyone's pity? than going home alone to an apartment you probably shared with Grant. The words hit harder than Vivienne wants to admit. She does share an apartment with Grant. The lease is in both their names. All her things are there, mixed with his things. Except he apparently removed his things without telling her. Without warning. Without the basic decency of a phone call. What would you get out of this? She asks. Control of my company. The ability to continue the work my grandfather started. The prevention of a hostile takeover by someone unqualified. Dante leans forward slightly. And a wife who understands architecture and design. Who could help me with the expansion project I have been planning for 2 years? And what would I get? Freedom from this nightmare of a day. A substantial salary as my wife and as the chief design consultant for Moretti Global. Your own office. Your own projects. Your name on buildings across 6 continents. He pauses, and something shifts in his expression. Something almost vulnerable. And the satisfaction of walking back into that ballroom on the arm of someone who chose you. The last part strikes something deep in Vivienne's chest. Chose. When was the last time someone chose her? Grant certainly did not. He left her at the altar. Her firm keeps her in the background of projects, using her designs but crediting the senior partners. Her own family loves her but spent the last 6 months telling her to compromise more. To make Grant happy. To be grateful he was willing to marry her at all. This would be a business arrangement, she says slowly. With the option to become something more, should we both desire it. Or to end amicably after the required time period. Dante's expression softens slightly. I am not proposing a prison sentence, Vivienne. I am proposing a partnership. How long would we have to stay married? The trust requires marriage for a minimum of 1 year. After that, we could divorce quietly if we choose. Or, he leaves the possibility hanging in the air between them like a question neither of them is ready to answer. Vivienne looks down at her dress. At the bouquet she is still clutching. She thinks about Grant's empty apartment. About returning to work on Monday with everyone knowing she was abandoned. She thinks about the sympathetic looks. The whispered conversations. The slow death of her dignity. Then she thinks about what Dante is offering. An escape. A purpose. A chance to actually do the work she is capable of instead of watching others take credit for her ideas. What would people think? She asks. They would assume I was a gold digger. That I married you for money. Let them think what they want. You will know the truth. I will know the truth. Dante stands and extends his hand. The only question is, are you brave enough to turn the worst day of your life into the beginning of something extraordinary? Vivienne stares at his hand for a long moment. This is crazy. Impulsive. Completely unlike her usual careful, planned approach to life. And look where careful and planned got her. Abandoned at the altar by a man who was too cowardly to even break up with her in person. Maybe it is time to be impulsive. She places her hand in his. His grip is warm. Solid. Real. I have one condition, she says, standing to face him. If we do this, we do it as equals. I am not some rescued damsel in your tower. I am a partner with full authority over the design projects you mentioned. Dante's smile is genuine this time, reaching his eyes. I would not want it any other way. Then yes. Vivienne takes a breath. Let's get married. 20 minutes later, Vivienne stands at the altar for the second time that evening. But this time, there is a groom waiting. The officiant looks thoroughly confused but professionally willing to proceed. Vivienne's maid of honor stands to the side, mouth hanging open in shock. Word has spread through the reception that something is happening. The ballroom has filled again with the original guests, now buzzing with speculation that sounds like a swarm of bees. Dante Moretti stands beside Vivienne in his impeccable suit, radiating the kind of calm confidence that comes from running a global empire. Up close, she can smell his cologne. Something subtle and expensive. Cedar and citrus and something darker underneath. The officiant clears his throat. Dearly beloved, he begins, and Vivienne has to suppress a hysterical laugh. This morning, she woke up expecting to marry Grant. Now she is marrying a man whose first name she learned 20 minutes ago. The ceremony proceeds in a blur. Vivienne hears herself repeating vows. Hears Dante's voice, deep and steady, promising to honor and cherish. The words feel both meaningless and profound. A legal formality that somehow carries weight. The rings, the officiant says. Dante produces a simple platinum band from his pocket. Later, he will explain it was his grandmother's. That he has been carrying it since her funeral, unable to let it go. Now he slides it onto Vivienne's finger with hands that do not shake. The metal is warm from his pocket. It fits perfectly. For his ring, Vivienne has nothing. Panic flutters in her chest for a moment before Dante removes a signet ring from his own hand and places it in her palm. It is gold, heavy, with a crest she does not recognize. She slips it onto his finger. It is too large for most of his fingers but fits his right ring finger like it was meant to be there. I now pronounce you husband and wife, the officiant says. He sounds like he still is not quite sure what is occurring. Like he is waiting for someone to yell cut. You may kiss the bride. Dante looks at Vivienne. A silent question in his dark eyes. She nods. Just slightly. Just enough. He leans in and presses his lips to hers. The kiss is gentle. Brief. Chaste enough for the audience, but somehow more intimate than anything she shared with Grant. When he pulls back, his hand lingers against her cheek for just a moment. When they turn to face the crowd, the reaction is a mixture of applause, gasps, and stunned silence. Vivienne's mother looks like she might faint. Her father appears caught between fury and reluctant admiration. Grant's family has already left, apparently deciding this circus is more than they signed up for. As they walk down the aisle together, Dante leans close. His breath is warm against her ear. How do you feel, Mrs. Moretti? Vivienne considers the question. She should feel terrified. She should feel uncertain. Instead, she feels something she has not experienced in months. Powerful. Ask me again in 6 weeks, she replies. His laugh is low and warm. Fair enough. The reception that follows is surreal. The dinner Vivienne agonized over choosing, the menu that was supposed to reflect her and Grant's relationship, is served to guests who cannot stop staring at her new husband. The cake she taste-tested 7 times is cut while photographers snap pictures. The first dance she choreographed for weeks happens in the arms of a man she has known for less than an hour. But as Dante guides her across the dance floor, his hand warm and steady on her waist, Vivienne finds herself thinking that maybe, just maybe, the worst day of her life is actually the beginning of something she cannot yet imagine. You are a good dancer, she says, looking up at him. My grandmother insisted on lessons. I hated them at the time. His dark eyes hold hers. I am grateful now. Can I ask you something? We are married. I think you are entitled. Despite everything, Vivienne smiles. Why me? Really? You could have approached anyone. You could have found someone already in your world. Someone who knows how to navigate your life. Dante is quiet for a moment, guiding her through a turn before answering. Because when I saw you on that terrace, you were the first person I have met in 5 years who did not look at me and see dollar signs. You looked at me and saw an interruption to your crisis. He pauses. And because I have admired your work for months. The Blackwell Museum renovation showed real innovation. You understand how to honor history while creating something new. That is exactly what I need for the Moretti expansion. So this is really about business. This is about possibility. His grip on her hand tightens slightly. What it becomes beyond that is up to both of us. The song ends. Guests begin approaching with congratulations and questions. Vivienne's college roommate wants to know how long they have been dating. Grant's former co-worker wants to know if this was planned all along. Dante's business associate wants to discuss a project timeline. Dante handles each question with smooth charm, weaving a story about how they met months ago at an architecture conference. How they have been seeing each other privately. How tonight was impulsive but felt right. The lies flow so easily that Vivienne almost believes them herself. Have you ever felt invisible at the moment when you needed support the most? Have you wondered what it would feel like to have someone choose you when everyone else looks past you? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to see how this incredible night unfolds for Vivienne. By 10 o'clock, Vivienne's feet hurt and her face aches from smiling. Dante notices. He always seems to notice. Would you like to leave? He asks quietly. Please. They make their excuses. Thank guests. Accept well wishes and knowing looks. When they finally escape to the hotel elevator, Vivienne feels like she can breathe for the first time in hours. The penthouse suite Dante reserved for his business dinner has become their wedding night accommodation. It is sprawling and modern, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. The space is decorated in sleek neutrals with pops of deep blue. Very Moretti global aesthetic. Vivienne stands by the windows, still in her wedding dress, watching the city lights blur in the darkness. Behind her, she hears Dante pouring drinks. Champagne, he offers, approaching with 2 glasses. I think I have earned it. She accepts the glass and takes a long sip. The bubbles feel celebratory and absurd in equal measure. So, Dante says, sitting on the sofa. What now? Now we discuss logistics. Vivienne joins him, kicking off her heels with a sigh of relief. Her feet throb gratefully. Right. You mentioned living together. We will need to maintain the appearance of a real marriage, at least publicly. That means living together. I have a penthouse in Manhattan and a house in the Hamptons. You can choose which you prefer as our primary residence. Or we can find something new together. I get to choose. You are my wife, not my captive. His tone is matter-of-fact. Like this is obvious. I need this marriage to be convincing, which means you need to be comfortable. Unhappy wives do not make good business partners. Vivienne processes this. What about sleeping arrangements? Separate bedrooms until we both decide otherwise. Dante meets her eyes steadily. I meant what I said about this being a partnership, Vivienne. I am not expecting or demanding anything beyond what we agreed to. Some of the tension in her shoulders eases. Okay. What else? They spend the next hour discussing the practical details of combining their lives. Vivienne will need to terminate her lease. Resign from Morrison and Associates. Move her belongings. Dante will introduce her to his executive team. Set up her office at Moretti Global Headquarters. Begin briefing her on the expansion project. The expansion is focused on Asia-Pacific, he explains, pulling up architectural renderings on his tablet. We want to open 5 new properties over the next 3 years. But we need someone who can design hotels that feel distinctly Moretti while respecting local architectural traditions. Vivienne leans in to study the renderings. They are competent but uninspired. Exactly the kind of safe, forgettable luxury hotel design that dominates the market. These are terrible, she says before she can stop herself. Dante laughs. A real laugh that crinkles the corners of his eyes. I agree. Which is why I have not approved any of them. Show me what you would do differently. For the next 2 hours, they forget about the wedding. About Grant. About the surreal nature of their arrangement. They talk about design philosophy. About how to create spaces that feel both luxurious and authentic. Vivienne sketches ideas on hotel stationery while Dante asks questions and challenges her assumptions. It is, she realizes with surprise, the best creative conversation she has had in years. You are good at this, Dante says finally, studying her sketches with genuine appreciation. Really good. Morrison and Associates have been wasting you. They like my ideas. They just do not like crediting me for them. Then they are fools. He gathers the sketches carefully. I want you to develop these concepts fully. Present them to our design team next month. If they are as strong as I think they will be, we will move forward with your vision. Vivienne feels a flutter of something she has not experienced in months. Excitement about her work. You mean that? I never say things I do not mean. It is inefficient. She laughs. A real laugh this time, not the brittle performance she has been giving all evening. Is everything about efficiency with you? Not everything. His gaze holds hers for a moment longer than necessary. Some things are about instinct. The air between them shifts. Becomes charged with something Vivienne does not want to examine too closely. This is a business arrangement. A marriage of convenience. Getting genuinely attracted to Dante would only complicate things. Even if his eyes do have this way of making her feel seen in a way Grant never managed. I should probably get out of this dress, she says, standing abruptly. It has been a long day. Of course. Dante stands as well, effortlessly graceful. The bedroom is through there. I will take the sofa tonight. You do not have to. Vivienne. His tone is gentle but firm. You have been through enough today. Take the bed. I will be fine out here. Too exhausted to argue, Vivienne retreats to the bedroom. It takes 20 minutes and a YouTube tutorial to figure out how to remove her dress without help. The gown has 17 tiny buttons down the back. By button number 9, she is ready to just cut it off. But the dress cost $2,000. Even if it represents the worst day of her life, she cannot bring herself to destroy it. When she finally steps out of the elaborate gown, she feels like she is shedding a skin. The hotel has provided a silk robe. She wraps herself in it and stares at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. The same woman who woke up this morning expecting to marry Grant stares back at her. But something in her eyes has changed. The defeat she saw on the terrace is gone, replaced by something that looks almost like hope. Her phone, which she silenced hours ago, shows 47 missed calls. Countless text messages. Most are from friends and family demanding to know what she is thinking. Several are from Grant's number. Apparently, he heard about her impromptu marriage. Apparently, he wants to talk. Vivienne deletes his messages without reading them. Turns off her phone completely. Whatever Grant has to say, she does not want to hear it. Not tonight. Not ever. When she emerges from the bedroom, she finds Dante has changed into comfortable clothes. Dark pants and a soft grey shirt. He sits by the windows with a book, looking less like a billionaire CEO and more like a regular person enjoying a quiet evening. Cannot sleep, he asks, looking up. Too much adrenaline. She sits in the chair across from him. Can I ask you something personal? Of course. Your fiancée who left. Did you love her? Dante closes his book carefully, marking his page before answering. I thought I did. But looking back, I think I loved the idea of her more than the reality. She fit the profile of what I thought I needed. Sophisticated. Well-connected. Comfortable with my lifestyle. He pauses. But she never asked me about my work. Not really. She knew what I did, but she did not care about why it mattered to me. Why does it matter to you? Because my grandfather came to this country with nothing. He worked as a hotel doorman, then a concierge, then a manager. He learned every aspect of the business from the ground up. When he finally opened his first hotel, he created a place where every guest felt valued. From heads of state to families on their first vacation. Dante's expression softens with memory. He taught me that luxury is not about opulence. It is about making people feel like they belong to something beautiful. Vivienne feels her throat tighten. That is exactly how I think about architecture. Buildings should make people feel elevated without making them feel small. I know. That is why I noticed your work. They talk until 2 in the morning. Sharing stories about their families, their dreams, their failures. Dante tells her about the pressure of living up to his grandfather's legacy. About the cousin who spent his inheritance on sports cars and is now contesting the will. Vivienne tells him about growing up as the daughter of 2 teachers. About how she put herself through architecture school. About the slow erosion of her confidence at Morrison and Associates. Grant used to tell me I was too ambitious, she admits. That I should be grateful to have a job at a prestigious firm, even if I was not getting credit. Grant was threatened by your talent. Maybe. Vivienne pulls the robe tighter around herself. Or maybe he was right. Maybe I was reaching beyond what I was capable of. You designed a museum renovation that has been featured in 3 international architecture publications. You created a space that increased visitor attendance by 40% while maintaining historical integrity. Dante leans forward. That is not reaching beyond your capability. That is working below your potential. The conviction in his voice makes something warm bloom in Vivienne's chest. When was the last time someone believed in her this completely? Thank you, she says softly. For tonight. For the opportunity. For seeing something in me. Thank you for taking an insane risk with a stranger. His smile is crooked. Almost boyish. Though I should warn you. My family is going to lose their minds over this. Your cousin who wants the company. And my mother, who has been trying to match me with appropriate Italian girls since I turned 30. And my 3 sisters, who will absolutely interrogate you about everything. He grimaces. I should probably call them before they see it in the news. It is going to be in the news. Vivienne, I own a hotel empire. You married me in what was supposed to be your wedding to someone else. This is definitely going to be in the news. The reality of what she has done hits her with fresh force. By tomorrow, her impromptu marriage will be public knowledge. Her parents will see it. Her colleagues. Her college friends. Everyone will have an opinion about the desperate bride who married a billionaire stranger. Hey. Dante's voice pulls her back from the edge of panic. Look at me. She meets his eyes. Let them talk, he says firmly. Let them speculate and judge and gossip. The only opinions that matter are yours and mine. Do you regret this? Vivienne takes a breath and searches her feelings honestly. Does she regret marrying a stranger? Does she regret the impulsive decision that has upended her life? No, she says, surprising herself. I do not regret it. Neither do I. The next morning, Vivienne wakes to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows and the smell of coffee. For a moment, she is disoriented. This is not her apartment. Not Grant's place. Not anywhere she recognizes. Then memory crashes back. The wedding. The abandonment. The rooftop terrace. Dante Moretti's impossible proposal. She is married. She finds Dante in the suite's kitchen area, dressed casually in dark jeans and a white shirt, reading something on his tablet while espresso brews. He looks up when she appears, and his expression warms. Good morning, Mrs. Moretti. The name sends a strange thrill through her. Good morning. Is that coffee I smell? Espresso. I had the hotel send up a proper machine. He pours her a cup in a delicate porcelain cup. How do you take it? Just black, thank you. They stand in companionable silence for a moment, sipping coffee and not quite looking at each other. It feels oddly domestic for two people who have been married less than 12 hours. I should warn you, Dante says finally. We are on the front page of 3 major newspapers and trending on social media. Vivienne's stomach drops. Already. He turns his tablet to show her. The headlines are predictably sensational. Jilted bride marries billionaire hotelier hours after being left at altar. Moretti Global CEO weds mystery bride in whirlwind romance. From heartbreak to headlines, inside last night's shocking society wedding. The photos are surprisingly tasteful. Dante looking commanding in his suit. Vivienne in her wedding dress. Both of them looking toward each other during the ceremony. If she did not know the backstory, they actually look like a couple in love. My publicist has been fielding calls all morning, Dante continues. I told her to release a simple statement. We have been seeing each other privately for several months and decided to marry in an intimate ceremony surrounded by family and friends. People will know that is not true. They were there expecting me to marry Grant. People will believe what we tell them consistently and convincingly. He sets down his tablet. Vivienne, this is going to be uncomfortable for a while. Reporters will dig into your past, into Grant's disappearance, into our relationship timeline. But it will blow over if we present a united front. And if I cannot handle it, if the scrutiny is too much, then we end this now. Annulment on grounds of, we will figure out the grounds. You walk away with a generous settlement for your trouble, and I find another solution to my inheritance problem. His expression is serious. But I think you are stronger than you believe. And I think you can handle more than Grant ever gave you credit for. There it is again. That bone-deep certainty that she is capable of more. Coming from Dante, it does not feel like empty flattery. It feels like a challenge. I am not backing out, Vivienne says. I just need to know what I am facing. Honestly. My family by this afternoon. My corporate board by Monday. Society gossip for the next several weeks. And eventually, Grant trying to come back. Grant. Why would he? Because men like him always regret walking away once they see what they lost. Dante's jaw tightens. When he sees you succeeding, when he sees you with me, he will convince himself he made a mistake. He will try to win you back. The thought of Grant doing anything of the sort seems absurd. But something in Dante's tone suggests he has seen this pattern before. I will not go back to him, Vivienne says firmly. Good. Dante moves closer. Close enough that she can catch the scent of his cologne again. Because you deserve someone who chooses you every single day. Not just when it is convenient. Their eyes hold for a long moment. Vivienne feels her pulse quicken. Feels the air between them become charged with possibility. This is dangerous territory. Real feelings complicating a business arrangement. But God, when was the last time someone looked at her the way Dante is looking at her now? Her phone rings, shattering the moment. Her mother's name flashes on the screen. I should probably take this, Vivienne says. I will give you privacy. Dante steps away, taking his coffee to the suite's other room. Vivienne answers the call and braces herself. Vivienne Marie Hart, what have you done? Her mother's voice is shrill with panic. For the first time in 24 hours, Vivienne smiles. It is Vivienne Moretti now, Mom. And it is a long story. The conversation with her mother lasts 45 minutes and covers the full spectrum of parental emotions. Shock, anger, concern, reluctant admiration, and finally, cautious acceptance. Her father gets on the line for the last 10 minutes. If he hurts you, he says, his voice tight with protective fury, I don't care how many hotels he owns. I'll destroy him. I know, Dad. Vivienne finds herself smiling despite everything. I love you too. When she emerges from the bedroom, Dante is on his own phone call, speaking rapid Italian to someone who is clearly giving him grief. He looks up when he sees her and mouths my mother with a grimace that makes him look almost boyish. Vivienne wanders to the windows while he finishes his conversation. The city looks different in daylight. Less romantic. More real. Somewhere down there, Grant is starting his day without her. Her apartment sits empty of her things. Her desk at Morrison & Associates is probably already being cleaned out. Everything has changed in less than 24 hours. That was intense, Dante says, joining her at the window. He runs a hand through his hair, disrupting its perfect styling. My mother wants to meet you immediately. My sisters are planning an emergency lunch. And my cousin is threatening to contest the validity of our marriage. Can he do that? He can try. But we have 200 witnesses and legal documentation. Dante's expression turns calculating. Though we should probably make a public appearance soon. Show that this was not some desperate stunt. What kind of appearance? There is a charity gala next weekend. The annual fundraiser for the Children's Hospital. My family has sponsored it for 20 years. If we attend together, it sends a message that this marriage is real and serious. Vivienne thinks about facing a ballroom full of New York's elite while rumors about her whirlwind marriage swirl. The old Vivienne, the one who was Grant's carefully accommodating fiancé, would have panicked at the thought. But that Vivienne was left at the altar yesterday. The new Vivienne married a billionaire stranger and is apparently now the wife of a hotel empire heir. Okay, she says. Let's do it. But I'm going to need a dress. Dante's smile is slow and genuine. Vivienne, you can have an entire wardrobe. Welcome to the family business. The week that follows is a whirlwind that leaves Vivienne's head spinning. Dante's assistant, a woman named Patricia with silver hair and the organizational skills of a military general, coordinates the logistics of combining their lives. She speaks in crisp sentences and somehow makes the impossible happen with a single phone call. Your belongings will be moved tomorrow, Patricia says on Monday morning, reviewing a tablet. I've arranged for movers and a cleaning service. Your landlord has been notified. The lease termination is being handled by our legal team. What about Grant's half of the apartment? Mr. Ashford sent a lawyer to handle the division of assets. Patricia's tone suggests exactly what she thinks of a man who sends lawyers instead of facing his responsibilities. You won't have to see him. Thank you. Patricia's expression softens slightly. For what it's worth, Mrs. Moretti, I've worked for Dante for 8 years. I've never seen him look at anyone the way he looks at you. Whatever this started as, I think it might become something real. The comment stays with Vivienne as she walks into her office at Moretti Global for the first time. The space is on the 42nd floor, with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Central Park. The leaves are just beginning to turn, splashes of gold and crimson against the green. Inside, the office is modern and minimalist. Clean lines. Neutral palette. A massive desk with dual monitors. Built-in bookshelves waiting to be filled. This is too much, she tells Dante when he shows her the space. This is appropriate for the chief design officer of a global hotel company. He leans against the doorframe, watching her reaction. Get used to it. Getting used to it is harder than she anticipated. The staff treats her with careful respect that feels like they are all waiting to see if she will last. Dante's executive team is professionally courteous but clearly skeptical of the boss's sudden bride. And everywhere she goes, people whisper, "That's her. The one who married him the same night she was supposed to marry someone else. Do you think it's real or just for the inheritance? I heard she didn't even interview for the position. Just got hired after they got married." The words sting because they echo Vivienne's own fears about how their relationship looks to outsiders. But she keeps her chin up and focuses on her work. If people are going to question her qualifications, she will prove them wrong through results. Her design team consists of 4 people, all of whom have more years of experience than she does. The first meeting is tense. "So," says Marcus, the senior designer, his tone carefully neutral. "What's your vision for the Asia-Pacific expansion?" Vivienne pulls up her sketches on the conference room screen. The concept she developed with Dante that first night, now refined and detailed. "The current proposals feel like they could be anywhere," she says. "Generic luxury that ignores local context. What I want to create are hotels that feel unmistakably Moretti but also unmistakably Tokyo, Singapore, Bangkok. Buildings that honor the cities they inhabit." She walks them through her ideas. Traditional Japanese design principles filtered through contemporary luxury for the Tokyo property. Tropical modernism for Singapore. A blend of classical Thai architecture and sleek minimalism for Bangkok. By the end of the presentation, even Marcus is leaning forward with interest. "This is good," he admits. "Really good. When can we start developing the full designs?" "Immediately." Over the next 3 days, Vivienne throws herself into the work with an intensity that surprises even her. She meets with structural engineers, reviews building codes for 3 different countries, sketches elevations and floor plans until her hand cramps. "You need to eat," Dante says on Wednesday evening, appearing in her office doorway with takeout containers. "It's 9 o'clock. Your team went home 2 hours ago. I just want to finish this section." "Vivienne." He sets the food on her desk and gently takes the pencil from her hand. "You have nothing to prove. Not to me. Not to them. Don't I?" She gestures at her office. "All of this because I married you. How is that not something I need to prove I deserve?" "You deserve it because you're talented. The marriage just gave you the opportunity to show it." He opens one of the containers, releasing the scent of Thai food. "Now eat. You're going to need your energy for tomorrow." "Why? What's tomorrow?" "Lunch with my youngest sister. Isabella wants to meet the woman crazy enough to marry me." Isabella Moretti arrives at the restaurant like a small hurricane. She is in her late 20s, dressed in designer clothes worn with an artist's casual disregard for rules. Her dark hair is cut in a choppy bob. Her eyes are the same deep brown as Dante's but filled with mischief where his hold intensity. "So," Isabella says, sliding into the booth across from Vivienne, "you married my brother hours after being left at your own wedding. I need to know. Are you a gold digger, incredibly impulsive, or running from the mob?" "Isabella," Dante warns, but there is affection in his tone. "What?" "These are legitimate questions." Vivienne surprises herself by laughing. After a week of careful politeness from everyone else, Isabella's bluntness is refreshing. Incredibly impulsive with a side of running from public humiliation. "Excellent. I knew I'd like you." Isabella raises her wine glass. "For what it's worth, I think Dante's ex-fiancée was awful. She once told me my art was charming but unmarketable. I'm thrilled he dodged that bullet." "Your art is brilliant and you know it," Dante says. "True. But it's nice to hear." Isabella turns back to Vivienne. "So tell me everything. How did this actually happen? And don't give me the official story. I want the truth." Over lunch, Vivienne finds herself telling the real story. The abandonment. The rooftop terrace. The impossible proposal. Isabella listens with growing delight. "That is the most romantic thing I've ever heard," she says when Vivienne finishes. It's a business arrangement, Vivienne corrects. Please. Isabella looks between them. I've seen business arrangements. This is not that. The way you two look at each other when you think the other isn't watching. That's not business. That's something real trying to figure out what it is. Later, after Isabella leaves with promises to have Vivienne over to her studio, Dante walks Vivienne back to the office. Your sister is wonderful, Vivienne says. She likes you. That's significant. Isabella has excellent judgment about people. He pauses outside her office door. My other sisters will be less immediately welcoming. And my mother is going to have questions. What kind of questions? The kind Italian mothers ask. When are you planning to have children? Why did you not have a proper Catholic ceremony? Is this marriage real, or are you just helping Dante with his inheritance problem? Vivienne feels heat creep up her neck. They have been so focused on the business aspects of their arrangement that they have not discussed children. We should probably have an answer prepared. We tell them the truth. We're waiting until we're more established as a couple. Dante's expression grows serious. Unless you have different thoughts about it. I haven't really thought about children at all, Vivienne admits. Grant always said we'd wait until he made partner at his firm, which was at least 5 years away. I got used to the idea of it being someday rather than soon. And now I'm married to a man I've known for a week. Children feel like a complication we don't need to add to an already complex situation. Something flickers in Dante's expression. Disappointment. Relief. Before Vivienne can identify it, it is gone. Agreed, he says simply. The charity gala is held in the ballroom of Moretti Global's flagship New York property. Vivienne has studied this space in architecture school. The soaring ceilings with their restored 19th century moldings. The crystal chandeliers that were custom-made in Venice. The floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the park. Seeing it in person takes her breath away. You designed this renovation, she says to Dante as they walk through the space before the guests arrive. My grandfather did the original restoration. I updated the mechanical systems and accessibility features 5 years ago. He looks around with obvious pride. This building is my favorite of all our properties. I can see why. It feels timeless. That's what we strive for. Luxury that doesn't feel trendy. Design that will matter in 50 years. For the gala, Vivienne wears a midnight blue gown that Dante's stylist selected. It is fitted through the bodice, flowing at the skirt, with delicate beading that catches the light when she moves. She feels like she is playing dress-up as a billionaire's wife rather than actually being one. You look beautiful, Dante says when she emerges from the dressing room. You clean up pretty well yourself. He wears a classic tuxedo that emphasizes his broad shoulders and lean build. Together, they look like they belong on the cover of a society magazine. The drive to the hotel is quiet. Both of them lost in their own thoughts. Vivienne's stomach churns with nerves. This will be their first major public appearance since the wedding. The gossip will be intense. Hey, Dante says, sensing her tension. We don't have to do this if you're not ready. I'm ready. Just nervous. Good nervous or bad nervous? Vivienne considers. Strangely, good nervous. Like I'm about to do something that matters. You matter, Vivienne. With or without the performance we're about to give. His words steady her. When they pull up to the hotel's entrance, photographers are already waiting. The flash of cameras is blinding as Dante helps her from the car, his hand warm and solid against her back. Mr. Moretti, can you comment on your surprise marriage? Vivienne, did you know your ex-fiancé has been giving interviews? Are the rumors true about the prenuptial agreement? Dante keeps them moving smoothly through the crowd, his expression pleasant but revealing nothing. Vivienne keeps her chin up and her smile steady, channeling every ounce of confidence she can muster. Inside the ballroom, the atmosphere shifts from chaos to elegant curiosity. Hundreds of guests in formal wear mingle with champagne flutes. Vivienne can feel the weight of their attention as she and Dante enter. Showtime, Dante murmurs in her ear. For the next 2 hours, they play their parts perfectly. Dante introduces her to business associates, philanthropists, old family friends. Vivienne makes conversation about her architectural work, about the Moretti expansion plans, about anything except the circumstances of their marriage. Some people are genuinely warm. Others are obviously fishing for gossip. Vivienne learns to identify the difference quickly and adjusts her responses accordingly. "You're good at this," Dante says during a brief moment alone. "Better than I expected. Years of navigating architectural conferences where people assumed I was someone's assistant. You learn to hold your ground gracefully. Still, I'm impressed." The orchestra strikes up a waltz. Couples begin moving to the dance floor. Dante extends his hand with a small bow. "May I have this dance, Mrs. Moretti?" "You may, Mr. Moretti." Dancing with Dante feels different in the gala's grand ballroom than it did at their improvised wedding. More eyes watching, more at stake. But as he guides her through the steps, Vivienne finds herself forgetting the audience and focusing on the man holding her. "There's something I need to tell you," Dante says quietly as they turn. "That sounds ominous. My cousin is here. He's planning to make a scene." Before Vivienne can respond, a man's voice cuts through the music. Well, the happy couple." Vivienne turns to see a man in his early 30s approaching them. He has the Moretti dark hair and strong features, but where Dante carries himself with quiet confidence, this man projects entitled arrogance. "Alessandro," Dante says coolly, "I'm surprised to see you here. It's a family event." "I'm family." Alessandro's eyes slide to Vivienne with undisguised contempt. "Though I see you've been busy acquiring new family members. Tell me, how much did this one cost you?" Vivienne feels Dante tense beside her. But before he can respond, she steps forward. "I'm Vivienne Moretti," she says, extending her hand with a smile that does not reach her eyes. "And I'm priceless, actually. Though I suppose you wouldn't understand that concept." Alessandro blinks, clearly not expecting her to engage. Around them, nearby guests have stopped their own conversations to watch. Grandfather would be appalled. Alessandro continues, recovering. His legacy being secured by a sham marriage to some architect gold digger who... "Choose your next words very carefully," Dante interrupts. His voice is quiet but carries an edge that makes even Vivienne shiver. "That's my wife you're speaking about." "Your wife of what? 10 days. Please. Everyone knows this is just a scheme to keep me from my rightful inheritance." "Your rightful inheritance," Vivienne hears herself say. "What have you done to earn it besides being born?" Because Dante has spent 15 years building his grandfather's vision into something extraordinary. "What have you built besides a reputation for wasting family money?" The ballroom has gone very quiet. Alessandro's face flushes red. "You don't know anything about this family. I know that your grandfather's will was very specific about who deserved to control his legacy. I know that it wasn't you." Vivienne steps closer to Alessandro, her fear transmuting into protective anger. "And I know that if you ever insult my husband again, you'll regret it." Alessandro stares at her for a long moment, then at Dante, who is watching Vivienne with undisguised admiration. "This isn't over," Alessandro finally says, before turning and stalking away. The moment he leaves, the ballroom erupts in conversation. Vivienne realizes she is shaking. "That was incredible," Dante says, pulling her close. "Absolutely incredible. I can't believe I just did that." "I can." He cups her face in his hands, his eyes intense. "Vivienne, you were magnificent." Around them, cameras flash. People whisper. But Vivienne barely notices. All she can focus on is Dante looking at her like she is the most remarkable thing he has ever seen. "Would you like to have dinner with me tomorrow night?" he asks quietly. Not as business partners. As real people who just defended each other in front of 200 witnesses. Vivienne's heart races. This is the moment. The shift from transaction to something more. She can feel it happening. Can feel the ground moving beneath her feet. "Yes," she says. "I'd like that very much." Have you ever stood up for someone and felt your whole relationship shift in that moment? Have you defended someone and realized you were actually fighting for yourself too? Drop a comment about a time you found your voice when it mattered most. And if you're loving this journey, hit that subscribe button because Vivienne and Dante's story is about to get even more complicated. The dinner happens at a small Italian restaurant tucked between a bookstore and a flower shop. It is not the expensive, flashy place Vivienne expected. Instead, it feels warm and intimate, with checkered tablecloths and the soft glow of candles in wine bottles. The kind of place where people go for conversation, not to be seen. This place doesn't look like much, Dante says as they sit. But they make the best carbonara in the city. A friend of mine recommended it years ago. It's perfect. I was worried you'd take me somewhere with cloth napkins and waiters who judge your pronunciation of French words. I save those places for business dinners. They're terrible for actual conversation. Over pasta and wine, they talk about everything except business. Vivienne tells him about growing up in Cleveland. About her parents, both teachers, who believed education was the path to everything. About her sister in California who is married with 2 kids and keeps asking when Vivienne will settle down. I guess I can tell her mission accomplished, Vivienne says, then laughs at the absurdity. How do you think she'll react to the truth? I don't know. My family is complicated. They love me, but they've never really understood my career ambitions. My mom keeps sending me job postings in Cleveland. She wants me to move home and marry someone stable. And what do you want? Usually, a message like that would make her smile. Today, it makes her stomach twist with anxiety. That evening, Dante picks her up at 7 as planned. He seems excited about something, practically bouncing with energy as they drive across town. Where are we going? Vivienne asks. You'll see. It's a surprise. He pulls up in front of an elegant restaurant downtown. The kind of place Vivienne has only seen in magazines. A valet takes their car and the maître d' greets Dante by name. Mr. Mitchell, your table is ready. They are seated at a private table on the restaurant's rooftop with views of the city lights stretching out below them. It is beautiful and romantic, but all Vivienne can think about is Caroline's words. This is incredible, she says, trying to match Dante's enthusiasm. I wanted tonight to be special. He reaches across the table and takes her hand. These past few weeks have been amazing. You've made everything better. Work. Life. Everything. Ethan. I know we haven't been together very long, but I feel like I've been waiting for you my whole life. His words should fill her with joy. Instead, they make her feel guilty and confused. Is that why you hired me? She asks. Did you offer me the job because you wanted to keep me around? Because it was convenient. Dante looks puzzled. What do you mean? Caroline came to see me today. His expression darkens. What did she say? That you don't really care about me. That I'm just a charity case you'll get tired of eventually. That this whole thing is just a scheme to secure your inheritance. And you believed her. I don't know what to believe. This all happened so fast, Dante. The job, us, everything. Maybe it's too good to be true. It's not too good to be true. It's just good. How can you be sure? Dante is quiet for a long moment, staring out at the city lights. Because I've never felt this way before, he says finally. Not with Caroline. Not with anyone. When I'm with you, I feel like myself. Not the successful businessman or the wealthy guy everyone wants something from. Just Dante. But what if Caroline's right? What if we're too different? What if this doesn't last? What if it does? What if we're exactly what each other needs? Vivienne wants to believe him. But the doubts are too strong. Too loud. I think I need some time, she says. Time to think about us, about the job, about everything. Dante nods slowly. If that's what you need. The drive back to the penthouse is quiet and tense. When they pull up outside the building, Dante turns to her. Vivienne, whatever Caroline said, whatever doubts you're having, remember one thing. I chose you. Not because you were convenient or easy, but because you're extraordinary. I don't feel extraordinary. That's one of the things I love about you. The word love hangs between them, heavy with meaning and possibility. I'll sleep in the guest room tonight, Vivienne says. I just need some space to think. I understand. But as she lies awake in the unfamiliar bed, Vivienne wonders if she is making a terrible mistake. If she is letting Caroline's poison ruin something beautiful. If she is sabotaging her own happiness because she is too afraid to believe she deserves it. The weekend is awkward and painful. Dante gives her space. Too much space. They are polite strangers sharing a home instead of the couple they have become. Vivienne buries herself in work. Dante disappears to his office for hours at a time. By Monday morning, the tension is unbearable. At work, people notice the change. Ask if everything is okay. Vivienne plasters on a smile and says she is fine. But she is not fine. She is miserable and confused and angry at herself for letting Caroline get in her head. She is in her office late Monday evening, trying to lose herself in market research, when her assistant knocks. "I'm sorry to bother you," she says. "But there's someone here to see you." He says he's Dante's father. Vivienne looks up in surprise. "Send him in." Thomas Mitchell is an older version of his son, with silver hair and the same kind eyes. But there is something formal about his manner that puts Vivienne on edge. "Miss Johnson," he says, extending his hand. "I'm Thomas Mitchell. Thank you for seeing me without an appointment. It's Mrs. Moretti, actually. Please sit down." Thomas settles into the chair across from her desk and looks around the office approvingly. "Dante has spoken very highly of your work," he says. "He tells me you've brought fresh perspective to the marketing strategy. I'm enjoying the challenge." "I'm sure you are. It's quite an opportunity for someone in your position." There is something in his tone that reminds Vivienne uncomfortably of Caroline. "What can I do for you, Mr. Mitchell? I understand you and my son have become close. We're married." "Yes, I see. And how long have you known Dante?" "A few weeks." Thomas nods as if this confirms something he already suspected. Mrs. Moretti. I'm going to be direct. My son is a good man, but he has a tendency to be impulsive. Especially when it comes to matters of the heart." "What do you mean?" "He sees someone in need and he wants to help. It's an admirable quality, but it sometimes leads him to make decisions based on emotion rather than logic." Vivienne feels anger beginning to build in her chest. "Are you suggesting that I'm taking advantage of your son?" "I'm suggesting that perhaps this relationship has moved faster than is wise for either of you. With respect, Mr. Mitchell, that's between Dante and me." "Is it?" "When my son's personal decisions affect his business judgment, it becomes a family matter." He leans forward. "Hiring someone he's romantically involved with creates complications. Conflicts of interest. Potential legal issues. Questions about favoritism." The implications of his words hit Vivienne like a physical blow. "You think he hired me because we're dating?" "I think he hired you very quickly after meeting you. And I think his feelings may have clouded his professional judgment." "That's not true." "How can you be certain? You've known him for less than a month." Vivienne thinks about Caroline's visit. About her own doubts. About the speed with which everything has happened. Maybe Thomas is right. Maybe she is the problem. "What do you want from me?" she asks. "I want you to consider whether this situation is fair to either of you. Dante deserves to make clear-headed decisions about his company and his personal life. You deserve to build a career based on your own merits, not on someone's romantic feelings. And if I agree with you, then perhaps you might consider taking some time apart. Allow Dante to focus on his business. Allow yourself to pursue opportunities where your personal and professional lives aren't so entangled." Thomas stands and straightens his jacket. "I'm not asking you to disappear, Mrs. Moretti. I'm simply suggesting that some distance might be beneficial for everyone involved." After he leaves, Vivienne sits in her office feeling worse than she has since Caroline's visit. Now it is not just Dante's ex-girlfriend questioning their relationship. It is his family. She is still sitting there an hour later when Dante appears in her doorway. "My assistant said my father was here," he says. "What did he want?" "To convince me that we're bad for each other." Dante steps into the office and closes the door behind him. "What did he say?" "That you hired me because of our relationship. That I'm a conflict of interest. That you're making emotional decisions instead of logical ones." "And what did you tell him?" "I didn't know what to tell him." Vivienne looks up at him. Because maybe he's right. Ethan sits down across from her, his expression serious. "Vivienne, look at me." She meets his eyes reluctantly. "I didn't hire you because we're dating," he says firmly. "I hired you because you're talented and creative and exactly what this company needs. Yes, I care about you. But that's separate from your professional abilities. How can you be sure? Because I've been in business long enough to know the difference between a good employee and a good person. You happen to be both. But your father has a point about conflicts of interest. My father has opinions about everything I do. He thinks I should run my company the way he ran his. Marry someone from our social circle. Live a life that makes sense on paper. Dante leans forward. But I'm not him, and I don't want his life. I want mine. With you in it. What if everyone's right though? What if this is all moving too fast and we're making mistakes? Then we'll figure it out. Together. But we can't solve anything if you keep pulling away. Vivienne looks at Dante. At the sincerity in his eyes and the hope in his expression. She thinks about the past few weeks. About how happy she has been. About how right everything felt before other people started interfering. I don't want to be the reason you make bad business decisions, she says. You're not. You're the reason I'm making better decisions. About the company. About my life. About what I want my future to look like. Your father thinks I'm just someone you're trying to rescue. My father doesn't know you. If he did, he'd realize that you're the one rescuing me. Vivienne feels tears prick at her eyes. I'm so confused, Dante. Everyone keeps telling me this isn't real. That it won't last. That I'm not right for you. What do you think? I think I've never been happier than I have been these past few weeks. I think you make me want to be braver and stronger. I think what we have is worth fighting for. Dante smiles for the first time since he walked into her office. Then let's fight for it. The fight comes sooner than expected. 2 weeks later, on the morning of Vivienne's big board presentation for the Asia-Pacific expansion, a tabloid releases a bombshell story. The headline screams across her phone screen. Moretti CEO's new wife under investigation for plagiarism and fraud. The article claims Vivienne stole her designs from Morrison and Associates. That she was fired for misconduct, not laid off. That her entire career is built on lies. There are fabricated documents. Fake statements from her supposed former boss. Photos suggesting she and Grant recently reconciled. It is all lies. But it looks convincing. Dante's phone rings non-stop. Board members demanding explanations. Investors questioning the expansion. Alessandro calling an emergency meeting to contest Dante's fitness to lead. We need to postpone the presentation, Patricia says, appearing in Vivienne's office. The board won't approve anything until this is resolved. No, Vivienne says. Her hands are shaking but her voice is steady. I'm not hiding. I'm not running. If they want to question my integrity, they can do it to my face. Vivienne. I mean it. She stands, gathering her presentation materials. Schedule the meeting. I'll be there. The boardroom is tense when Vivienne enters. 12 faces stare at her with varying degrees of skepticism and hostility. Alessandro sits at the far end, looking smug. Dante sits beside her chair, his expression murderous. Thank you for coming, Mrs. Moretti, the board chairman says. I'm sure you understand why we need to address these allegations before proceeding. I do understand, Vivienne replies. And I'm prepared to address them. But first, I'd like to present my designs. Because my work speaks louder than lies ever could. Mrs. Moretti. With respect, sir, I've spent 6 weeks developing a comprehensive strategy for this expansion. The designs. The market analysis. The financial projections. If you're going to judge me on my actual work. Not on fabricated scandals. The chairman looks around the table. Several board members nod. Very well, he says. Proceed. Vivienne presents for 45 minutes. She walks them through every detail of her designs. Shows them how her approach will differentiate Moretti Global in highly competitive markets. Demonstrates the financial viability with data she personally researched and verified. By the end, even the skeptical board members are leaning forward with interest. These are impressive, one of them admits. But the allegations are lies, Vivienne interrupts. She pulls out her own folder of documents. I have written statements from my actual former boss at Morrison & Associates confirming I left due to budget cuts. I have emails proving I developed these designs independently after joining Moretti Global. And I have evidence that the tabloid story was planted by someone with a vested interest in seeing this expansion fail. She looks directly at Alessandro. Someone who benefits if Dante loses control of this company. That's a serious accusation, Alessandro says. It's a provable fact. Vivienne slides documents across the table. I traced the fabricated evidence back to a company that specializes in creating fake employment records. The same company you paid $15,000 to 3 weeks ago. The boardroom erupts. Alessandro's face goes red. Dante looks at Vivienne with something approaching awe. These are lies. They're bank records, Vivienne says calmly. And witness statements from the people you hired. Would you like to continue denying it? Or would you prefer to leave quietly before I press charges? Alessandro stares at her for a long moment. Then he stands and walks out without another word. After he leaves, the chairman clears his throat. Mrs. Moretti, on behalf of the board, I apologize for doubting you. Your designs are exceptional, and your integrity is beyond question. The expansion is approved. Unanimously. Thank you, Vivienne says. She feels like she might collapse, but she keeps her spine straight. I look forward to working with all of you. Outside the boardroom, Dante pulls her into his arms. You were magnificent, he says. Absolutely magnificent. I can't believe I just did that. I can. You're the strongest person I know. 6 months later, Vivienne stands at the window of their new office in San Francisco. The expansion has been even more successful than projected. The Tokyo hotel is booked solid for the next year. Singapore breaks ground next month. Her designs are winning international acclaim independent of the Moretti name. Admiring the view, Dante asks, joining her at the window. Admiring everything, Vivienne replies. A year ago, I was sitting alone at a wedding, feeling sorry for myself. Now look at us. Any regrets? Not a single one. Their 1-year anniversary is tomorrow. The contract said minimum 1 year. After that, they could divorce quietly if they chose. Neither of them has mentioned divorce in months. Vivienne, Dante says. I want to show you something. He takes her hand and leads her to the elevator. They ride to the rooftop. When the doors open, Vivienne gasps. The terrace has been transformed with lights and flowers. Candles flicker in glass hurricanes. A small table is set for 2 with champagne chilling in a bucket. Dante, what is this? A do-over. He guides her to the center of the space. A year ago, I asked you to marry me out of desperation. I needed a wife to secure my inheritance. You needed an escape from the worst day of your life. It was a transaction. A business arrangement. Where is this going? Tonight, I want to ask you again. But this time, for the right reasons. He pulls a small box from his pocket and opens it. Inside is a ring. Not his grandmother's simple band, but a stunning diamond that catches the light and throws rainbows. Vivienne Moretti, he says, dropping to one knee. Will you marry me? Not for appearances. Not for business. But because I love you. Because you're the most remarkable person I've ever met. Because I want to spend the rest of my life being worthy of you. Vivienne feels tears streaming down her cheeks. We're already married. I know. But I want you to choose it. Choose me. Choose us. Not because you were desperate or impulsive or trying to prove something. But because you want to. She thinks about the journey that brought them here. The abandonment that felt like the end of her world. The stranger who offered an impossible proposal. The partnership that became friendship that became love. You didn't rescue me, she says softly. You gave me the space to rescue myself. So is that a yes? Yes. Every day for the rest of my life. Yes. Dante slides the ring onto her finger beside his grandmother's band. Then he stands and kisses her. It feels like a promise. Like a beginning. Like coming home. They marry again 2 weeks later. A small ceremony with just close family and friends. This time, Vivienne writes her own vows. I choose you, she says, looking into Dante's eyes. Not because I need you, but because I want you. Not because you saved me, but because you saw me. You saw who I could become and you believed in her before I did. You taught me that being chosen isn't about being rescued. It's about being recognized. Dante's vows are simple. I choose you, he says. Every day. In every way. For everything we've built and everything we'll become. When they kiss, it is not for appearances. Not for an audience. Just for them. 2 years later, the first Moretti global property designed entirely by Vivienne opens in Tokyo. The building is stunning. A perfect blend of traditional Japanese architecture and contemporary luxury. The lobby features a water garden visible from the street. The rooms are minimalist but warm. The rooftop restaurant offers views of Mount Fuji on clear days. Critics call it a masterpiece. A new direction for luxury hospitality design. Vivienne Moretti's name is in headlines around the world. At the ribbon-cutting ceremony, Dante stands beside her. Not in front. Not behind. Beside. Your grandfather would be proud, Vivienne tells him. He'd be proud of both of us, Dante replies. This is your vision brought to life. That night, in their hotel suite, Vivienne reflects on how far she has come. From the woman abandoned at the altar to the architect reshaping luxury hospitality. From someone who made herself small to someone who claims space unapologetically. Her phone buzzes with a text from Rebecca, her former best friend who stopped speaking to her after the impromptu marriage. The message is short. I saw the article in the Times. Your hotel is beautiful. I'm sorry I doubted you. I'd love to reconnect if you're willing. Vivienne considers for a moment. Then she types back. Thank you. I'm willing to talk, but I'm not the person you used to know. I've grown. If you can accept that, I'd like to reconnect too. Another text comes in. This one from her mother. So proud of you, sweetheart. Your father and I are bragging to everyone. When are you coming to visit? Vivienne smiles. Soon, she types. Very soon. Dante appears with 2 glasses of champagne. To the brilliant architect who changed my company and my life, he says. To the man who believed in me when I didn't believe in myself, Vivienne replies. They drink. And then Dante pulls her close. I have something to tell you, he says. That sounds ominous. Or exciting. Depending on how you look at it. He places her hand on his chest. How would you feel about expanding our family? Not the business. Us. Vivienne's breath catches. Are you asking what I think you're asking? I'm saying I'm ready if you are. No pressure. No timeline. But I've been thinking about it. About a little girl with your eyes and your talent. Or a little boy with your stubbornness and my sense of humor. Tears fill Vivienne's eyes. I'm ready too. The kiss that follows feels like another beginning. Another chapter in a story that started with abandonment and became the greatest love of both their lives. Sometimes the person who saves you is yourself. You just need someone to believe in you while you remember how. Sometimes the worst day of your life is actually a gift in disguise. A door closing so another can open. Sometimes the most beautiful love stories aren't about rescue. They're about recognition. About 2 people seeing each other clearly and choosing each other anyway. Vivienne learned that she was never meant to sit alone. She was meant to find the person who saw her worth and challenged her to see it too. And Dante learned that the inheritance that mattered most wasn't the company his grandfather left him. It was the partnership he built with the woman who agreed to marry him for appearances and stayed because of love. Their story started with a business arrangement. It became a testament to the transformative power of taking risks on yourself. Of believing you deserve more. Of choosing to be chosen. Have you ever had a moment that felt like an ending but turned out to be a beginning? Has someone ever believed in you so completely that you started believing in yourself? Drop your story in the comments. I read every single one. If this story moved you, hit that like button. If you believe in second chances and new beginnings, subscribe to Tales of Desire with Mr. Walker for more stories that prove life's plot twists can lead to the most beautiful endings. And share this with someone who needs to hear that their story isn't over. It's just beginning. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And remember, you're never meant to sit alone. You're meant to find the people and the purpose that help you become who you were always supposed to be. Until next time, Keep believing in the extraordinary possibilities hiding in ordinary moments. This is Mr. Walker, reminding you that sometimes the best thing that never happened is exactly what leads you to everything you were meant to have.